Hey, good morning, Pillar Church. Today, Jared asked me to share some of my thoughts about Romans chapter 7. And as I was reading it, I was struck by the thought that there are a lot of verses that could be taken out of context and misinterpreted. For example, the verse 2 and 3 talks about the law of marriage, and if you just read those in isolation, you may take them as just teaching about God's law for marriage, when in fact Paul is using that law in particular as an example for the point in the rest of this chapter. And then verse 9 is another example. It says, "Once I was alive apart from the law, but when the commandment came, sin sprang to life." If you read that verse by itself, it sounds like the commandment or God's law is bad, and that it caused sin. But when in fact that is kind of the opposite of the point that Paul is making here. He's saying that it's God's law, so of course we know it's good, but it's good for us because it teaches us that we are sinful and highlights our need for salvation. Another verse, verse 19, is one that most of us have heard before. It says, "For I do not do the good that I want to do, but I practice the evil that I do not want to do." And this, you could take this two ways. You could take this as discouraging because it's Paul saying this, who is, through the inspiration of God, is responsible for much of our New Testament. And if he can't help but doing bad things, then we might as well give up, because there's no way we're going to be able to do it either. Or you might look at it a different way and think that Paul is one of the greatest apostles and he does bad stuff, so it's okay if I'm bad too. I think both of those ways of looking at it are misapplying what he is saying here. He's really highlighting the ongoing battle that we have between, the flesh and the spirit. And without talking about this all day, I'll just say opportunity to not take this verse out of context and go ahead and read chapter 8 today instead of waiting until tomorrow, because there you'll find some really good news, and the point of chapter 7 is leading to chapter 8.